We're live now. We're recording. We have the man, Steve. Steve, you got an amazing story. I know. I've been so excited to get you on. So excited. We did Garfield, and man, we could have been talking for ages. Like, I love this. I absolutely love what you guys do. It's so savage. Yes.
Garfield so could talk for days, mate.
Crazy. He's like, it was a DJ. True. It was a raver, and then he went into event planning, and from there now he's like building these hardcore courses to, you know, fuck people up as they run Spartan.
It's such beautiful. A good lad. And he's one of my best friends as well, which is great. And we've met through the Spartan community, and he is just is a wonderful human being. So I'm glad he was on your podcast first, and I look forward to listening to it.
Yeah, warmed it up, right? He told us about Abu Dhabi that's coming, and he's designing the course there. It's going to be like the Spartan Games or something, right? This is, that's a big project, right? To get all the way out there, the sand, the weather, like I have Rory. I think you know Andrew, right? It turns out Rory has already booked his flight, already bought he's buzzing for it. And he was like, wait, I know these guys. I know Garfield. Like, I watched them and everything. He was crazy about it. He was getting excited about the podcast.
Yeah, he's gonna have an awesome time. And I'll be there in Abu Dhabi as well. So I can't wait.
Steve, how are you gonna mark that course, man? Like, where are you gonna put your markings on sand? Like, Garfield said he's gonna do whatever he can to.
Oh, we do what we can.
Super tough. Yeah.
We always make it work, and like I think the terrain is great, and there's always ways and means of making it work. Like, I mean, the US has such diverse courses. I mean, we go from Arizona to the mud of Seattle to, you know, the swamps of Florida to Ohio, bushwhack heaven. Like, there's everything, you know, and I think once you've kind of worked out how to plan a course in the US, I think you can do it anywhere else, because it has every type of terrain. You know, you've got desert, you've got swamps, you've got, you know, mud and hills and mountains.
It's so unpredictable.
And everything else.
Well,
yeah,
you did Iceland too, right? You were the course marker in Iceland. Yeah, so I mean,
so I can't get much in Sweden. How I was with Woody.
Oh, Sweden too.
Yeah.
Oh, with Woody. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, Woody.
Oh, Woody.
He's a legend. He's an absolute legend. He's fucking brilliant.
Oh, that's great, man. That's great.
It's amazing. So how did this all start? Let's go to the beginning of Steve's story. I mean, were you a DJ raver as well? How did you get started with all of this?
Very far from it. Very far from it. So my background is basically in sort of outdoor pursuits. So I kind of worked in the outdoor industry for a very long period of time. From an early age, so 17, 18 years old. Didn't really do very well in high school, didn't go to college, so ended up at an outdoor pursuit center in North Wales, believe it or not. And that kind of started a career in climbing, skiing, skiing in Wales, skiing, whitewater rafting, you know, all that kind of, you know, that kind of stuff, a lot of kayaking, rock climbing. And it kind of developed, went to Scotland for a bit, and then ended up going globally. Like, did a lot of training, did a lot of sort of basic courses to get me, you know, to where I could lead expeditions, and ended up in. So it's cut a long story short. Ended up basically working for a whitewater rafting company, which was global. So this was after a lot of seasons spent in the Alps skiing and doing a lot of climbing. I kind of pursued a couple of different avenues, but ended up in the whitewater scene, basically with rafting and kayaking. Flew around the world, Africa, Nepal, Morocco, Norway, Switzerland, to name a few. You know, Turkey as well. That was one on the list, and we basically had this kind of seasonal job that I did for many years, which was great. And so whitewater was my life. We did these big expeditions ranging from 2 days to 12 days, and some even longer. depending on if it went wrong or not.
Wow.
It was awesome. Yeah. And that's kind of what I did for a long period of time. So the whole Spartan story started where, and it actually started with my wife, my wonderful wife, Stacy, who is American. I met her on the Zambezi River in Africa, which is in Zimbabwe. Well, border of Zimbabwe and Zambia. And we ran trips down there. I was, on a trip, and yeah, the whole motto "Don't screw the crew" kind of went out the window that trip. But she was pretty awesome girl, and we ended up getting married, and I kind of moved away from that scene. Well, she had run a Spartan race, Sacramento 2012, and I had done a lot of like my kind of running career. I mean, I didn't really have a running career as such, but I was very much into the Scottish fell running, did a lot of triathlons, did a lot of crazy, like weird events. Believe it or not, and I didn't even know it was OCR, I did a tough guy back in 2001. And, Luzzie's back. I did a tough guy. And I didn't, it was just one of the things that the lads did. We went down there, like some of the fell runners from Scotland. We went down and, competed in this like horrendous race.
But the thing is, nobody knows this.
Is Luzzie.
Is Tough Guy was the origins of OCR back in the day. And Lil Dean stole.
They did.
The idea of Tough Guy into Tough Mudder in the U.S.
We are recording, by the way.
That's where Tough Mudder came from, then, right?
It is, and actually, that is exactly it.
Mike worked with Tough Guy for like.
Wow, Tough Guy to Tough Mudder.
It was Tough Guy to Tough Mudder, and it was actually a court case. You can actually look it up for a while with Mighty Mouse.
Case.
Wow! I'm going to look that up. That's interesting.
You should look it up. It's very, very, very interesting.
That guy's crazy.
Wow!
Almost as crazy as this boy here.
Oh, you gotta be. You gotta be. What you guys do, I think that you got to have a certain amount of craziness, right? Because this isn't an ordinary job, right? This isn't an ordinary and 9 to 5.
What's funny? This is about as normality as that I get nowadays, because my jobs were super weird with the going back to the rafting scene. I was working many days. I didn't even have a home. I was very nomadic, but it was like 90 days away from home. And it was crazy. And so now it seems a little bit more, I've got a wife, I've got a kid, and this is about as normal as I'm going to get. But you do have to have a bit of what's the word?
Savage, bro. You got to just be savage.
A little bit of savage. Yes, I was thinking about a little bit of mental disability, but I'll go with savage. I think that's fine.
A little selfishness falls into play, I think, too. Like you're out there. I mean, obviously you're with a big crew, but at the end of the day, you're taking flights on your own. You're driving yourself to the airport. You're going away from your family for a week at a time. But it sounds like compared to the rafting scene, it's a little bit more less invasive on your like day-to-day home life, and especially with a kid and a wife, man. I mean, it's a lot to juggle. And I mean, when I was working for Spartan, I'm just like a single 22 23-year-old just like running around the US, and like I got nothing holding me back. But I really did look up to like anyone who had some family back home, because I know it's not easy. And you guys are to some extent putting your life on the line to like put on some epic races. Garfield was talking about some of the injuries, that big one in Utah a couple of years back. And I mean, really anything's possible. And I think with the COVID thing, that's like you can't really see it or touch it, but obviously people can get sick. But like it's super physically demanding to be out there just like rip. I think you, obviously the build guys putting up the obstacles and stuff, but like you got one of the most like intense, just like bushwhacking, really gritty jobs, I'd say, on the ground. What do you think about that?
Oh, mate, it's my dream job. It's I'm not. As you can tell from trying to get me onto the podcast, I'm not very computer savvy. Like computers to me is like teaching the Americans about cricket. It doesn't really kind of like work. However, being out there on the field is exactly what it's where my passion lies. And I've been one of these very fortunate people, obviously talking about my previous jobs. I've always done something that I really, really want to do and really am passionate about. So why would I change it? I've never kind of worked for money, obviously being paid is good. But I've never worked for that higher, bigger paycheck and trying to move up. I'm just here because I absolutely adore, setting up these Spartan races. I've had opportunities. It's not in my wheelhouse to be a race director. I love the course manager side of stuff. I've done a lot of things on the side with the media and and also the social media side of stuff. So I feel I have kind of found my little niche in Spartan. And, obviously the love of racing is always going to be there as well. So when I get a chance to race as well, I do. I've been, enjoying my challenges this year as well. Being a very challenging year through COVID with the unknowns. It's been extraordinary. And I love the fact that I'm back out here. I'm doing a stadium race. I've never done a stadium race before, mate. But I have no idea what I'm doing. Like they've got this like massive indoor stadium. They're like, yeah, you're the course manager. I was like, oh, okay, this is great. I mean, it's so fun. I'm like making the guys go up and down all these stairs, and it's awesome. I'm like thoroughly enjoying it.
Stadium, right?
It seems like a common theme that you, Garfield, and most of the guys that do this, it's just a passion thing. The paycheck comes with it, obviously, and it's a nice add-on, but it's not the motivation behind what you do.
No, and I think it's important to always choose jobs with that being the latter part. And I really do preach that, because it's you gotta love what you do. And it kind of gives you a sort of a sense of purpose, and it kind of reflects in how your sort of private life goes. Because I'm quite open with my life as well, and it's I have a pretty awesome wife and a 3-year-old kid who's just wild as heck, and I want to expose him to everything. I took him climbing the other day, and that was just like it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. He was brilliant. A 3-year-old does not have any fear at that age. It's amazing.
It's so cool.
Yeah, they'll go through anything. They'll go through anything.
Yeah,
that's incredible. Yeah. So you got one kid then.
We're one and done. Yeah, one and done.
One and done.
Which is great. We live in Tahoe, North Lake Tahoe, and we have a beautiful little cabin there, and not looking to move anytime soon.
It's a magical place. Tahoe is amazing. Are you is it bittersweet that the World Championships is diverting away from North Lake Tahoe?
Of course, because
it's
it is my hometown. However, Spartan is global, so I am ecstatic that it is going to other places. I want to see it in Europe. Like if you've ever, you guys have as well, but like European races are out of this world. Like I would love to see it in one of the alpine places. I think it's great that it's in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi know how to put on an event. It's an extraordinary place. I've worked over there in the Middle East in previous years, not for Spartan. But they know how to put on events. It's going to be a spectacle. And I know a lot of people have sort of, feelings about the place. It's a very politically, there's a political minefield really of you know, in Abu Dhabi. However, I think, you know, if you look at any sporting events, Formula One were there. The World Cup is going to be in Qatar. It's going to be in the Middle East in 2022. That's going to be a spectacular event as well. Like, I'm so looking forward to being there, and I think it's going to be amazing. And I think the fear of traveling, I think COVID's going to kind of put it in there, so the numbers might be a little bit shy. However, I love to see the Europeans, the Europeans and probably further afield will get over there and compete fiercely, which will be awesome.
Wow. So
That's
COVID,
amazing.
yeah, because I mean, there's flights, there's hotels, but Abu Dhabi, they have a good system for protecting like for COVID, right? I don't know if they will have a quarantine, but they'll definitely have some testing process as you come in.
I'm
so
sure
this should be all right.
And it's ever changing. So, you know, closer to the date, I'm sure we'll figure all that out. And, you know, I think, you know, most people will be sort of quite happy to abide by that. But the race itself is going to be spectacular. Like, I'm so glad it's going to be in Abu Dhabi. It's going to be epic. Absolutely epic. Like, Tahoe was epic, you know, with the weather and the fact that it was snowy last year. And I'm glad it's kind of moving because, you know, Spartan is ever changing. It's ever growing. It's ever, you know, it doesn't need to be stagnant. And the fact that it's going to be in Abu Dhabi for the next few years, I think is going to be great. And hopefully it will move on. And I would love to see it in the East at some point as well, in Asia. I'd love to see it in Australia. I'd love to see it in Europe. I think it would be good to, like the World Cup, you know, you have your places all around and it's kind of different every time. You know, the fans will experience different things. And I think with Spartan, the racers will feel a very different experience each time they travel. I would love to see it. I would love to see it keep traveling around.
Hey, Steve, I think like for exposure purposes for the brand and for the races and all these athletes, I found that when the races were televised on ESPN, they were absolutely like a hit. Yeah. I thought that like the reach for Spartan was it must have been huge just from like the numbers of people being able to watch it around the globe. Like, is the Abu Dhabi race going to be televised? Do you know? I'm
really, really hoping. We are definitely thinking of sort of media being a massive presence.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm not sure so much about the actual live stream, but I'm sure it'll be a very quickly turned over. I think they call it live to TV or something straight away. So you'll be able to watch it kind of almost real time, but with a little bit of editing. I'm hoping that will be the case.
So I want to back up a little bit. Before you were talking about like your opportunity to potentially be a race director, but you love course managing, and then you mentioned media. So I want you to tell everyone a little bit about like what your role is when there is media presence on the ground, because John, this guy is a nut, man. Like, he is running as fast as the pro athletes with a camera in his hand and like just like getting every shot and nailing it, and it's super impressive. So Steve, if you could like talk a little bit about that, I think it's super cool and it's like absolutely insane.
So it's been ever, you know, a little ever changing, developing, but my main role is sort of a course manager, but my title is a sport and media liaison. So I do a lot of like looking after the course managers. I do a lot of looking after sort of the media side when they come on site, and also helping develop the sport as a whole as well. So that's kind of the big picture. When we're actually on site, I help do the obviously mark the course, you know, and if it's someone else helping me, we're, you know, do the QC part to make sure that all the sport aspect is kind of taken care of, obstacles, everything is all, you know, all equal. And then in terms of the media side of stuff, I help film, and then and it's the rabbiting.
Yeah, what do they call you? They call you the rabbit. The
rabbit. And basically, to get the coverage is I help organize a crew of pro trail runners, and we've just recruited a few guys, good friends of mine, who are going to be rabbiting in Utah. But there's usually 4 of us, two to get the men, 2 to get the women, and then we kind of, you know, intertwine a little bit as well.
Actually filming people, taking photos. Filming.
So we're running with the racers generally the whole way.
That's it. Oh, geez. Okay. Insane. With a full-on camera and a crew.
With a GoPro.
Oh, with a GoPro. Okay.
Yeah. So we have done it live stream before as well, where we carried little 8-pound packs with us, with basically the GoPro then fed live stream back, which was pretty epic. We did that in Tahoe, and so the footage that you see was all live stream, and we literally ran around the whole course with these cameras, and yeah, it was pretty epic.
GoPro, you can go in the mud, and you can go anywhere with that.
Yeah, you can go anywhere. And the thing is, it's like some of the guys that we've got are some of the, you know, best runners in the US, and they quite happily kept up with the Robert Killians and, you know, and the Ryan Atkins, and running along with them with a GoPro. And so I was privileged to be part of that little team, and getting that footage, which was great.
Is that going to be Abu Dhabi? They're going to do this in Abu Dhabi as well?
I would hope we would do this in Abu Dhabi as well. We haven't quite finalized the whole sort of the media outcome, but there will probably be rabbits there to get the footage. Thomas Blanc from Europe, he's been one of our rabbits as well, and he's an elite trail runner, so he's fantastic at that job too.
Jesus. So this is Abu Dhabi is the games, right? I'm like, I actually don't quite know. Is it because you have a sprint, a super, and a beast? Then you have a super beast. So the Abu Dhabi one, does it have a name, or is it just a whole new course that is like titled as the Spartan Games?
It's the World Championships. So the Spartan
Championships, yeah.
So the Spartan Games. I mean, they may do the Spartan Games there. I don't know fully for certain. I think Garfield will know more than that than I do. But this is the World Championship. So the World Championship will be a beast course, and that will be the best in the world competing. We will put on a sprint and a super and a few other things. But in terms of elite races go, there is the World Championship, which will have age group categories and also the elite as well.
Nice.
Which is the main. Which is our main thing.
Steve, I know in the past, like couple of years, it's been a lot more like defined as to what like is a super, what's a sprint, what's a beast. So what is the plan for the beast in Abu Dhabi? Like what's going to be the distance range and how many obstacles?
So let's take it back a little bit. And, you know, we've always had the Spartan miles.
Yeah.
It's kind of been like unended. And you got these like 16, 17 mile beast courses in 2014 and that kind of stuff. It, you know, like all sports, when they kind of get their groove on, basically have a niche, you know. Everything gets standardized. You look at triathlon, for instance, you kind of know what you're getting when you do an Olympic distance triathlon. You know what you're getting when you do an Ironman distance triathlon. So the whole standardization, I think, is key. A sprint is a 5K, 5K distance. A super is a 10K. A beast is a half marathon. So you're looking within, and of course there will be fluctuations of mileage and that kind of stuff. But basically the parameter is a 3.2 mile course being the sprint, a 6+ mile course being the being the super. The beast will be a half marathon. That's the kind of that's the standardization for the mileage. The ultra can be a little bit kind of flexible here and there. We've done the 32 mile here. We've done it as long as it's over kind of 30 miles. Being an ultra beast, that's the best way to do it.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow, man.
And I think that's great. I think a lot of people have been a bit disappointed with us dropping the miles with the super. However, I think it's great. Like, you know, you can make it one of the hardest races I've ever done was a sprint, because I'm redlining it from the word go. And, you know, if you're not crossing that finishing line, like almost throwing up, then you've basically, you know, done it under your capability.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and I think for like the sport aspect, just legitimizing it for that purpose, like having it like much more defined is definitely for like the more elite athletes. Like you said, there might be some people that might throw a little fuss over you know, maybe just like a 6 mile super or something, or maybe they think that's too long or something, right? But I think in terms of like, you know, then you start looking at the world championships and you're counting points, and it gets down to like the nitty gritty of like who's better than who. And it's like, well, this person ran a sprint that was like 6 miles and this person ran a sprint that was like 3 miles. And it's like, at that point, you know, how do you really judge who's better than who? But it should be interesting. Who were like, would you say are like some of the contenders to be, you know, the fittest Spartan athletes right now?
Yeah, the top guys. I was going to ask that. I mean, you said all the elite athletes. You have to go to Abu Dhabi if you take your Spartan career seriously as an athlete, right? You have
absolutely.
to.
And we will see. I hope to see some, you know, Europeans there. So Albert Soleil, and there's a few other guys there that could do really, really well. However, in the US, I think VJ Jones is definitely coming of age. So I know a lot of, you know, he's not done well in the mountains. He's not done well on sort of really hilly courses in, you know, sort of sub, you know, 2019. However, it's been a year and a half since then. He's moved to Colorado. He's definitely developing himself as, you know, a person, an athlete. You know, the maturity of him in OCR is definitely coming of age. He is going to be a world champion at some point in the near future. Is it going to be Abu Dhabi? I would definitely put my money on it. However, it's yet to see. But he is one of the guys coming up who's not a world champion yet, but probably will be down the road. You know, He's got that caliber. Obviously Ryan Atkins is always going to be so he's going to be amazing, as he always is.
Fantastic. That's crazy. These are high level athletes. Steve, I don't want to keep you too long. You got your dinner coming, but let's finish with a story. Give me a good story. It's a race that you're like, man, you want to hear a good story on this? Right? I mean, I need to hear a good story from you.
All right. Well, give me a little bit of a genre.
Well, it's a race that like almost fell apart. You probably almost died, you know, or an athlete almost died. You know, you had a landslide or an avalanche come in. You know, like something like, whoa, Jesus, this is the Spartan life, right?
I think I can definitely give you an exciting one, and I don't think anyone really sort of realized the potential of not actually having a race in 2019 in Tahoe. It was absolute mayhem in the morning because we postponed that. It was supposed to go off early morning. And we kept on postponing it because we had 2 feet of snow at the top of the mountain. So we were running up and down the mountain. We weren't allowed any vehicles on there to try and find the course tape. There was a huge amount of snow covering all the course marking, tape, arrows, that kind of stuff. So we basically got 3 or 4 of the guys, and including myself, running the course, finding the tape, and making sure that we could kind of, you know, that was like my little role. The big picture was making sure that we had access to, you know, medical, like making sure that this race could actually happen. We were clearing roads. There was like a ton of people sort of, you know, making deals with the venue. And it was one of these races that was touch or go, you know, touch and go, which was just insane. And it ended up, you know, being one of the most insane and fantastic races that we've ever had. I mean, people were so unprepared for it as well, because we had one of the biggest DNFs for, you know, the female elite field. So many people dropped out because it was sub-zero temperatures up top. So absolutely insane.
And you're making them swim in that sub-zero temperature, right? Or was the swim I forget if it was closed or not, but I know that was probably one of the most brutal parts of that Tahoe course always, was that ice cold water when you get to the summit.
Yeah, so so one of the key things with making a swim work was the 80-degree rule. So basically the air temperature and the water temperature had to be equal temperature to an 80-degree for it to work. So instance, 40-degree and 40-degree, so 40-degree water and 40-degree air temperature would mean that we could put it on. And we closed it pretty quickly after the age group went through. However, we were very much on that limit for that, you know, because the water temperature was actually about 50 degrees, contrary to belief.
Wow.
When we measured the water temperature. However, I got a feeling, because it's quite a deep pond, that more people go in it, activated it being colder, and basically stirred it up, and it therefore ended up going colder. But people were already wet and cold before that time.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
That's brutal, right?
Brutal. That's so brutal.
Yeah, it was absolutely insane. So that was to get to the start line. I think for us to see the athletes on that start line was a massive sigh of relief. From postponing it, because actually, if you look at the official start time, it was almost noon. For an elite trail, for the elite men to start.
So we're going from like sub-zero blizzard, like, you know, weather in Tahoe, to now we're going to be going into Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
And
Jesus, yes.
It's just it's a completely different ball game for these athletes, man. It's going to be
absolutely. Yeah, and it's going to be 13 miles of just sand, and yeah, I'm sure there's going to be fast sections, but I think the course is going to be, you know, brutal. Probably even the same. To be honest, I think it might even be faster. I don't think it will be faster than Tahoe, just because of the terrain.
Okay.
Even if the elevation gain isn't as much, you still think it'll.
Yeah, I think the
sand will probably keep the runners from really maxing out there.
Yeah, depending on how we lay out the course. You know, I have not been to the exact venue yet. You know, we don't know if we're going to run them up every single, you know, inch of sand dune, or if we're going to make them run around, which can be hard packed depending on the weather, depending on the, you know, like the wind. Because the thing is, in that type of sand, the wind can kind of almost make it like concrete. You know, we don't know if it's rain. They do get rain there, not a lot, but they do. So it just depends what kind of, you know, rain what kind of terrain it's going to be. So
I'm super excited to see what you and Garfield come up with. Are you going on this? Yes. Are you going on the site visit with him?
I'm not going to go on the site visit. No, I don't go on the site visits. I just get the kind of, you know, the foot plan, like layout, and I just do the A to B to B to C to C to D, and kind of connect the dots. That's what I do.
You got to take his word for it.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting stuff, man. That's going to be a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, this has been a real treat. I don't want to wear out my welcome here and keep you too long from your dinner, but let's do another podcast in Abu Dhabi. There's so many more things I want to ask you, but we're just running out of time. But let's bookmark this for another time, man. This has been incredible. It's so incredible. This is an insane job. Yeah, it's a
ridiculous job, and I feel very fortunate to be kind of part of it. And you know, it's absolutely ridiculous how it's kind of played out, and I will love every minute of it.
Yeah, Andrew, we need to go to Abu Dhabi. We'll get you a beer. Let's do it. Fuck it. Let's figure it out. Let's navigate. Yes. Beer's on us, guys. This is incredible.
Steve, thanks so much for taking the time. I know you're super busy in Arizona right now, but good luck with your first stadium race.
Good. Thank you very much. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks so much, Steve.
All right, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers. Good luck.
Good.
Peace.